Hello, yes, it's good morning to you. It's Mr. Nicholson here for your daily English lesson. Obviously, you might have noticed there wasn't an English lesson yesterday, and that's because we're just trying to keep the timetables as normal as possible, really. And normally in school on a Wednesday, you would do a science lesson, so that's what we've carried on, even with the remote learning. So it's Thursday, the 14th of January today. The title of this lesson is parenthesis. I just want you to pause the video for a couple of minutes and write that date and title into your English books, please. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to start off as usual with a little bit of total recall. What I would like you to do is write this piece of text out in your English books, please. It's 5 o'clock. Let's leave early and we'll be able to go to Emma's house first. And when you write it out in your English books, you might notice that quite a lot of the words in that piece of text have apostrophes. And what I'd like you to do is circle the word that contains the apostrophe for possession. So again, I'm going to leave you to that for a couple of minutes. Just pause the video, and then I'll reveal the correct answer in a moment. Right, let's have a look at this one then, shall we? So, it's has got an apostrophe, but that's an apostrophe for contraction, because that's short for it is, so it's not that one. O'clock, got an apostrophe, but nothing belonging to the clock, so there's no possession there. Let's is let us, so again, that's an apostrophe for contraction. Wheel, and that's we will, so again, it's another word that's been shortened with the apostrophe because it's not that one. Okay, so I think the answer for this one is Emma's. So well done if you decided that too. And the reason this is correct is obviously the word Emma's has an apostrophe, but also it's to show that the house belongs to Emma, to show that the house is in possession of Emma. It's Emma's house, it's her house. So that's the word that you should have circled to get that total recall correct. Okay. Right, let's move on to the main part of the lesson for today now. So, as I've said before, we are learning all about parenthesis. Parenthesis is our title. You might have heard of parenthesis as extra information, but we're going to use the posh word today as much as we can, so we're going to use the word parenthesis. And your task basically is I'm going to give you some sentences and you're going to add the punctuation into the sentences. And then if you want to write some of your own sentences and add your own extra information, for Golden Challenge, you can do that too. Okay, so I've put down planning and making links for our learning powers today. And I want to just start off with a little bit of an explanation to you, a bit of a reminder about what parenthesis is. So I've already mentioned that parenthesis is extra information. And it's placing a part of a sentence between a pair of punctuation marks. And normally for parenthesis we use commas, or dashes, or brackets. And especially with good reading, I notice you are very, very capable of using brackets, but we don't use commas and dashes as much. So we're going to try and practice and have a look at all three of those today. And what they do, those punctuation marks, is they show that the words inside are asides, or interruptions in the normal flow of the text. And you can often tell that you've got the parenthesis punctuation in the correct place, because when you take out the information in the parenthesis, the sentence should still make sense without it. And as we go through and we practice, I'll be reminding you of that as we go through. Okay, so I think we'll look at brackets first. Read this sentence and answer the questions which follow. Okay, and they're very simple questions, and then we'll reveal the answers. We agreed to meet on my birthday, 2nd January, outside the cinema. What is the main information in this sentence, and what is the additional information? So I want you to pause the video and answer those questions in your English books. You could write brackets if you want to, or brackets practice, and then just explain which part of that sentence is the main information and which part is additional. Okay, pause the video and come back to me in a minute. Okay, so the main information in this sentence is that we agreed to meet, okay, on my birthday outside the cinema. The additional information is the date. It's the word 2nd of January, and it's additional because it's been put inside brackets. Okay, and it's just giving a bit of additional information about when the birthday is. Okay, let's have a little bit of a look at dashes as well. Read this sentence and answer the question which follows by clicking on the right answer. Okay, so obviously you haven't got a computer, so you can't click on the right answer and you can't use the smartboard. So again, what I'd like you to do is to just put the answer A, B or C in your English book. So you could write dashes as a little subheading and then have a think. What is the additional information in this sentence? Read the sentence through carefully and then decide A, B or C. And then pause the video and come back and we'll check together. Right, let's have a look at this one, shall we? So the sentence says, Tom glared at Patrick, dash, Patrick owed him £500, dash, and shook his fist at him. I know the dashes are in the correct place, because if you read the sentence either side, it says, Tom glared at Patrick and shook his fist at him, and that would still make sense. So the additional information is inside the dashes. So the additional information is C, that Patrick owes Tom money. £500 to be exact, which is quite a lot. But that's the bit that's in the parenthesis, so that is the additional information. So well done, and tick that if you put down C as well. Let's have a little look at commas as well then. So normally in class this would have been a task you do with your talk partner or the person sat with you on your table. But you'll have to have a go at it by yourself today, I'm afraid. And it says, see if you can identify the additional information in these sentences. So there are 4 sentences there. The first one says, Mexico, assumed by many to be a South American country, is in North America. And if you read the words either side of the commas, it says Mexico is in North America. That's the main information. The additional information in that one is that people assume Mexico is in South America, although it's actually in North America, so they're wrong. So the answer to that one would be that people assume it's in South America. I want you on your own to have a look at B, C and D, and just write down in your English books, again you could put the subheading commas, what is the additional information in sentence B, sentence C and sentence D. Pause the video and come back when you've done that task. Okay, welcome back everybody. So the additional information in sentence B is that St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland. The additional information in sentence C is that the moon floats in space just like the Earth. And the additional information in sentence D is that bulls will attack a red cloak. Those are the additional parts, because if you read the sentences and just totally forget about what's inside the commas, totally forget about the parenthesis, the sentences will still make sense. Let's have a look. St. Patrick was a Roman slave. The moon is not a planet. Bulls are colourblind. And those sentences still make sense without the parenthesis in the middle. Okay, so we're moving on to your main task now. And in a moment I'm going to take this slideshow off the screen and I'm going to put some sentences on the screen instead. And what I want you to do is work out where the extra information is. Work out where the parenthesis is and just mark it using punctuation. You could use brackets, you could use dashes, or you could use commas. And if you finish all the sentences on the screen, you could then create some of your own sentences too. Okay, so let's have a look at the sentences that I want you to use. As I've said previously, a bit of a tip is that when you remove the parenthesis from the sentence, it still makes sense. Now, I don't really want to read all of these out to you because sometimes, when you read sentences aloud, it's obvious where the parenthesis is because you normally take a little pause or a little break when you're reading it through. So I'm going to ask you to read all the sentences one by one on your own, and then write the sentences into your English book, but put the punctuation in. Okay? So there's 1, here, many, oh, I wasn't going to read it to, oh, just read this one. Many people believe in UFOs, unidentified flying objects. So I think for that one, it would be brackets around the unidentified flying objects, because that is extra information that explains what UFOs are, or what this letters UFO stand for. And then you've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you've got 6 sentences there that I'd like you to write into your English books as your main task for today's lesson. And then when you've written them in, you can make a decision, figure out where the parenthesis goes, and then add in your punctuation. You can add brackets, like I did with that first one, or you can add dashes, or you can add commas. Okay? And if you finish those and you've still got a bit of time left this morning, you can write some of your own sentences with brackets, dashes, and commas too. Cool. So hopefully I've explained that task to you and you understand what you need to do. I would spend about 20 minutes on that. And if you'd like to send some pictures in of your work to your teachers through the chat button on Microsoft Teams, and we'd love to see how well you've done with that this morning. Okay, so pause the video here and have a go at that. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning into YouTube this morning. Hopefully that lesson's given you a little bit of a reminder and a bit of a recap about how you can use brackets, dashes, and commas for parenthesis, because I'm going to give you a bit of a challenge tomorrow about using them when you write your mummification instructions up. Okay, thanks again. Take care, everybody, stay safe, and I'll speak to you on YouTube soon. Goodbye.